Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Andrew Rimby. Welcome back to the Ivory Tower Boiler Room. I absolutely, to explain who this guest is, I mean, would probably take 10 episodes, so I'm not going to do that to you all. But I'm joined with the enigmatic, empowering, praised at times, energetic Ariana, who has been overseeing my fitness journey, and she is just such a motivating presence. So, Ariana, welcome to the Ivory Tower Boiler Room.
I absolutely love that introduction. That was the best ever.
Oh, thanks. I'm winging it here, Ariana.
I love
Well,
it.
Ariana and I, we actually know each other outside of the virtual space. And I
Yes.
love when I get to talk to people who I've seen on a regular basis. We consider each other friends. Brings a different energy. I love all the guests, but I was saying to Ariana, there's nothing like just peeling back the layers and the
Right.
curtain here. So I consider you a fitness influencer. I think this is a good place to start for us. Do you think of yourself as a fitness influencer?
So I was laughing because, obviously you gave me a couple of talking points before our little, chat today. And
Don't tell them that. I'm just kidding.
oh, no,
I'm joking. Go ahead.
just to make sure I didn't sound like an idiot for the 15 minutes. Um, I didn't think I was a fitness influencer. I actually did all this Instagram stuff because of COVID. And I wanted to keep in touch with everybody. And I'm like, how can I keep in touch with everybody? And I started doing virtual workouts during COVID on my Instagram, and it just kind of turned into its own thing. And now it's kind of like, am I an influencer? I don't know. But then I'll get somebody to come along in one of my classes and be like, oh, I saw that recipe or I saw that workout. And I'm like, wow, maybe I'm actually influencing a couple of people. And even though my circle is kind of small, I do love that there's people that I am affecting, and I'm getting some business, personal training business from it. I got a couple of people from you. So it's really kind of cool that I'm kind of branding out a little bit. And I think that I would love to do more of it and do more stuff, but I just need to tap in organically. So I think that I'm growing very slowly, which is great because I have real followers, and that's, I think, the biggest important, the most important thing. I think some of these influencers just want, oh, I have 1 million followers, and they barely know who their audience is. And I just kind of developing that audience, which I love. So yes
That
and
is
no, I think.
such, yeah, but that's such good advice about the number of followers because I've been thinking about this a lot, Ariana. We are so connected, and we can shout out Lauren from Skin Med Spa.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
is one of your clients, and Lauren and I talk about being entrepreneurs. I consider you an entrepreneur.
yeah.
I think that being an entrepreneur is so fulfilling, but it's also a slow burn when you're finding the niche of the audience. Like you're
Right,
saying, we're not nothing against someone who wants to do like a erotic or crazed TikTok trend that
right.
like exposes them and makes them go viral. But I
Mm-hmm.
always say that's great. Like I'm starting to do new models. I know you do a lot of
Mm-hmm.
different social media outreach, but with all those eyes, are you drawing the people back to your business, right? Like even though I'm eating a burrito, I'm still listening to a podcast discussion in the background. There's a
Right.
recipe for what I'm doing. I'm not just eating a burrito and shoving my face full of sour cream. Like
Exactly,
that's a
exactly.
different way of putting myself out there. And you know, how have you worked through showing all your exercises? I mean, you like will show a squat routine and you
Mhm.
really do have such a dedicated base. Like this really was a pandemic born baby in a
Yeah,
way.
it was definitely, yeah. So like I do try, sometimes I think about it, okay, and it's kind of funny because I get angry at other influencers and stuff like that because they'll put posts up of workouts that nobody could do. And it's
Mhm.
hilarious to me. I'll watch their workout and be like, no one could do that. Like, that's not a realistic thing. So sometimes when I post something, I'm like, it's kind of the same boring stuff because that's really what I do. It's kind of boring. If you're an actual person that body builds, it's the same exercises pretty much over and over again. So you kind of have to try to figure out a way to engage your audience and not be boring, and then also get the right people to look at your stuff because sometimes I'll get followers and I'm like, I don't really want to, not to knock any of my followers, but like some followers, I'm like, they're they're only following me because I wore a tight dress. It has nothing to do with my workouts,
Or your
So I
booty
think, or my
showing
booty,
off in the
yeah,
leggings.
exactly. And that's another thing. Like I know so many influencers that like, they show their butt and then they like show their ass, touching their breasts, and like it's a whole thing. And it's like you're not getting the right followers. Like you obviously are getting followers for a different reason than you really, than influencing people to work out. That's the
Unless
whole
it links to their OnlyFans, which could be its
right.
own
Right.
model. I mean, I'm so open about my OnlyFans.
I
Well,
love it.
and also being an entrepreneur, I'm able to dictate
Right.
my content.
Right.
And that's something you and I have talked. I don't know how open you want to be about that. That's up to you, Ariana, but it is an ethical decision, right? I mean, even
Right.
you being so out there with your fitness in the Long Island area, the New York City metro area, whatever, you want to call who your audience, you're capturing those beyond Long Island,
Right.
obviously. And I'm curious, how have you battled or worked through I have my more corporate job and then I have this
Mm-hmm.
side of what I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing.
And
Like
we've
it
talked
is a
about
tug
this
of war.
before too, because I know that you struggle with like you want to be you and you want to have an image and be open, and then you're worried about maybe somebody thinking differently of you because of what you're doing, or like, especially in academia, like not taking you seriously. And I feel the same way. Like sometimes I'll post something and I'm like, oh shit, my work is going to see that, because I don't, I have a 9 to 5 boring job. It's not like I have my fitness job, my fitness stuff is 24/7. It's like, on the off hours that I do my regular 9 to 5. So I think that it's important to keep your integrity and to make sure that if you have a line, that line doesn't get crossed. And again, like some people will judge you for certain things, and if they're going to judge you so much that they ignore your intellectual self and the fact that you're good at your job, your corporate job, then maybe you shouldn't be working with those people. And that's kind of how I feel, because again, I feel like sometimes I would have people in my business that would judge me for something I would post, and then I would be like, you don't know me, you don't know what I'm about, and I'm trying to like, literally, it's not something that they're kind of misreading something, just because I'm wearing a crop top or a sports bra doesn't mean I'm necessarily trying to sexualize myself. It's because I want to show off what I have been working toward, and that's really what the influence part is, so I think it's kind of lost sometimes with certain people. They don't want to, they have to really make that decision. Am I going to go and have an OnlyFans and, and own it, or I'm going to keep that line and know where I stand, and that's where I'm not going to cross. And we've talked about it. Like I would probably do a subscription on Instagram and do like, oh, like, let's do some workouts together, or, whatever. But I don't think I'd go to the OnlyFans portion, because I think sometimes I get followers that are not going to want to look at workouts. They're thinking that OnlyFans is something else. And I have no interest in that. So it's really just drawing the line. And then if they follow you in a, OnlyFans sense, then you have to really be like, this is not the space that you were expecting. And I think that's what you do well. Like you have an OnlyFans, but you have an actual niche that you're trying to express in there. Like it's not necessarily, what it's, I guess,
Yeah. It's not
stereotypical
porn.
of that.
It's not porn all the
Yeah,
time,
it's not
if that's what
porn.
you're getting to.
No, I
It's,
know.
but it is like me showing like
A
my
more private
body,
side of you. A
or
more
like even
private
on
side of you.
Instagram, I
Yeah.
felt more judged when I showed like my jock strap on Instagram. But now
Mm-hmm.
that I can put that on OnlyFans, I'm like, the audience who's paying for me on OnlyFans, mostly men, mostly
Mm-hmm.
gay men, are maybe there's women, I don't know, but
You
good
never
for
know.
them. But maybe they're straight men, even better. Did
Well,
I
we
say
know how
that?
we feel
Okay.
about that.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get into that later. Especially those who are listening to this conversation right now. Hey guys. So I think though, because like you said, I'm using my OnlyFans as Andrew's boiler room. So it's about me being a provocateur in the literature and the podcast world. Like
Right.
even when I'm posting a naughty photo, if you want to call it that,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm playing around with it. Like I'm
Right. You have a
aware
book.
of,
You have a
yeah,
yeah. Like
I'm
I've
aware
seen
of the
it. Yeah.
joke. Like I'm
Yeah.
in on it,
Right.
um I'm not naive. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
not just posting without a reason. And like you
Right.
said, that to me is the line in the sand is
Mm-hmm.
even on social media, are you thinking through your plan? Like are you at
Yeah.
least pausing and saying, where is this going to resonate? Like
Right.
once I upload this, not just sporadically um posting and not actually making a niche for yourself. So I
Right.
love everything you've said. And it's a balance though. I mean, I have so many on here, Ariana, who really want to start to do more entrepreneurial or freelance work. But of course, right, finances get in the way. That's not something I want to poo-poo. Like money
Yeah.
is an issue. Money is important in our
Mm-hmm.
lives. And, you know, do you feel right now that you can say, I'm satisfied and I know I'm working towards a bigger vision of what I'm doing in the
Um,
fitness industry?
I would say absolutely yes. I think that the more and more I keep doing it, I'm not a huge fan of social media. I think it's kind of exhausting sometimes. And like, it's again, the same stuff over and over again sometimes. And I'm just like, how do I break a mold where it's interesting and engaging and I'm trying to build a brand, right? So I think that it's again important to just kind of okay, I'm going to make sure I show some recipes. I'm going to make sure I show some workouts. I'm going to make sure I show me in the gym, me doing whatever I can do to like build myself up to like influence other, motivate other people to go, okay, Ariana has a 9 to 5 job, but she still gets to the gym in the morning. She still works hard. She's still doing this. I also like to show that you can be an older woman, you can have children, you can have a family and do everything and be, and that's kind of where I want to influence other women and other men to understand that you're important. You could take the time and be important and be healthier and be stronger and there is time in the day to do that. So I think that that's important and that's kind of where I'm leaning toward, like showing all these people that they could have a life where they're healthy and then enjoy the rest of their life. And that's kind of where my branding, I think, in my brain and what I'm building toward. I want people to know, okay, yeah, you want to have a glass of wine and a cheeseburger on a Saturday night, you can, but you could also have abs. Like it's doable, and that's kind of where I'm at with that. So yeah, I do love that I'm kind of gaining traction and building followers slowly. I don't pay for followers and I think that's again, I don't think the numbers are matter. I think it's really your a quality audience that matters.
Well, I think that you've taught me so much about that perspective of
I love that
not
I taught you
to,
something.
no, you always are teaching me. You always are teaching me, Ariana. But it's about like the image and the materialistic element of like it reminds me of when people think that a certain brand has to be the end all be all of I only buy that product, even though,
Mm-hmm.
my fake Apple Watch from Amazon for $40 does just as good of a job.
Right.
And I'm happy with what I have.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're content, I think if you have to pay for followers and everyone out there, I don't pay for followers either. And I've thought about it. And then I think these are going to be bots or people that I don't even want really
Right.
to be part of they're not even going to be interested. And
Right.
that's even with my OnlyFans. I have men actually writing to me, like, I listened to this episode. And that's where, or you should read this, Andrew. I know that,
Mm-hmm.
you talked about that book. I've read this book. Have you seen it? Or someone saw I had a Wizard of Oz collectible
Oh,
globe
I
with the
love
witch
that.
and her crystal ball. And he's like, I'm a Wizard of Oz fan too. Here's like my collectibles. And I think people, I don't let the outside judge me. And that's something where if you're going to enter into being an influencer, and I've had to
Mm-hmm.
own being an influencer because people are watching and listening
They're
to what I do.
listening to what you're saying exactly, and it's and you have to make it quality things, and you have to understand, they are listening, and you have to kind of give them what they want. And I think that I'll do trial and error things. I'm sure you do too. Like I'll post something, I'm like, oh, that That freaking sucks. Nobody's watching that, So I kind of like play around with it and like, okay, that works. Let me see if this works. And the biggest, and as you said, like when they kind of feed back to you, like, oh, I saw your Wizard of Oz stuff. Oh, I used that recipe the other day. Oh, I tried this or
I love
whatever.
your
It's so
recipes
freaking
too.
cool.
They're so good. No, everyone needs to like, oh, well, first say your Instagram too for people who are listening who want to like start
Oh
watching,
yes,
like
yes.
looking at your Instagram.
My Instagram is AP Fitness Works, and I hate the name. I made it like a million years ago, and I'm like, but then everyone's like, "Why are you complaining about the name? It's okay." But at least it's not like I always feel like all these fitness girls have fitness in their account, and it drives me crazy. I wish I came up with something cooler.
Yeah, but you have a good brand, like, right? That's a business name. It can
Yeah,
be a business name.
yeah. And that was the goal, because
And
eventually
it
I was
is
really
gonna
nervous.
happen. Yeah.
I was nervous because when COVID happened, I'm like, I want to teach still. I want to instruct still. How am I going to do it? Because it's like, I always wanted to be a teacher, and I never really did it, and I was like, this is such an outlet for me to teach people and to instruct people. And I love this aspect of it. And that's kind of how I fell into fitness in the first place. Um,
Yeah,
besides,
that's
as
what I was gonna
snotty as
ask. I
I
don't
know,
know
yeah.
this about you. Like I've
Yeah.
never
So
asked
it's
you, how
such a,
did you
it's
actually like get bitten by the fitness bug?
so funny. I actually I took a yoga class. Well, I always danced. I danced for a very long time. Not well, but danced like modern dance, some ballet. I can't actually dance. Anybody that takes any of my classes knows if I have to do steps next to each other, it's a disaster and they crack up laughing because it's just a hot mess. I can't teach Zumba. Like there's no rhythm whatsoever. I basically dance like Eileen from, is that Elaine? Elaine from
Oh yeah.
Seinfeld. That's how
Seinfeld,
I
yeah.
dance. So, modern dance I did for a long time. And I used to do some yoga classes and stuff like that. And I remember going to a Pilates or a yoga class, and the instructor was not in good shape. I was in better shape. So, as bizarre as that sounds, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna see what it takes to do this, like as like a side gig. And I've been doing it since 2006. Like, and I started as a sub, because I did Pilates forever. So I started as a substitute at some studios as a Pilates, substitute. And then I started getting my own classes. And then I started kind of branching off learning. I got my certification in group fitness, but then I got my certification in personal training. I got my certification in spin. I got my certification in different, aqua. I could teach an aqua class. Like I know all these different, aspects of fitness. I could do a step class. I could do a bar class. Like, there's, bar method or whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
the Pilates thing or the new thing with the bar. But I have done it for such a long time. I just keep going with the times and learning different classes and seeing what's cool and popular. And I just kept up this repertoire of styles, and I kind of made kind of my own style with certain classes that I do. And I absolutely love it. I love learning new things. I go to other people's classes. I watch YouTube videos, and I just try to keep myself educated and involved in the world. And then I gained some weight during COVID, and I was turning 40, and I was like, I'm going to step this up a notch. One of my friends, her name is Jessica. She was a competitor, bodybuilding competitor. And she said, Ariana, you're so close to, and you could do it. Like, I think you could do a bodybuilding show. And I was like, you know what? For my 40th, that will be my goal. I have to lose this weight. And I did it. I did 14-week um, bodybuilding, training. I did a prep, and with my coach, Fit Body from Mission Fitness. She's awesome. And I won fourth place in two categories. My first show, which was freaking awesome, Steve Stone through Bev's Gym, and it was the coolest experience. And I met all these cool people, and I'm like, I definitely got bit by the bug of bodybuilding, and now I feel like at 41, I'm like as fit as I've ever been, and I just keep want to, I keep wanting to build upon that, and I love it, and I love that I could kind of show people that you could do this at any age. Like it doesn't mean, like just because you're 40, 50, 60, even 70, I have a girl I follow that I met at one of the shows that she's 71, 72 doing bodybuilding shows and she looks phenomenal. And I think it's like my anti-aging, you know, trying to keep up
Regimen
with.
is bodybuilding. I love
Yeah,
it.
I'm trying to beat the clock. So this is the best way I could think of doing it.
And maybe this is a generalization, but I have realized like being now, like having taken Ariana, I had done so many of her spin classes. I like have gotten a lot of advice from her for my workout routines. Like I've been working at a gym. Well, I worked at a gym. I worked at a gym since I was in high school, and then I
Yep.
worked at LA Fitness on Long Island into my PhD program, and then left there working, but work out still at LA Fitnesses. I just love the gym. Um, and something I've always realized from all these years of working at a gym is many bodybuilders or fitness enthusiasts, it relates to me as well. Like we might not have necessarily been the most popular person in school, or a lot are very introverted, or they had to find their voice. They went through obstacles,
Mm-hmm.
trauma, bullying. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there does seem to be a pattern. I'm not sure if you've seen that in all your years in fitness, but it seems like fitness for a lot of people is the way to find their voice and their agency.
Right. For me personally, I do see that. I do see a lot of people use that as kind of like a therapy, you know, and I think that most of the people I speak to in the fitness world, it's definitely their therapy. I think a lot of the time I go to the gym to just shut my brain off. Like to it's my time. And that's why I say to everyone, it's so important to have that time for you and to just shut everything off and just work on your body and your mind connection and just make sure it's all about you. And I think that was a hard lesson I had to learn after having kids because you literally do everything for your children and you don't do anything for yourself.
Mm.
And I think that's everyone has that level of worrying about everybody else and not worrying about themselves. Like whether it's your parents, your kids, your job, and it's draining. So I think yes, you're 100% right. I think that people do go to the gym if they, for different reasons, but most of the time it's like a therapy or they had something in their lives that they're trying to like break, break that mold of,
Mhm.
whatever it is. Like maybe they were overweight when they were younger, maybe they were too thin when they were younger. Like I hate some that's one of my biggest pet peeves when someone thinks it's okay to say, Ariana, you should eat a cheeseburger, when I was like, maybe you should not eat a cheeseburger. I would never say that to anybody. Like, and I just can't believe that if you're fit, people tend to think it's okay to say that to you. Like, that, oh, you're too thin, especially when you're in a bodybuilding prep, you lose a lot of weight and people really do look at you like you're emaciated, and you have a problem. And it really is none of their friggin' business, number one, but like, what the hell are you, what gives you the right to even talk to me like that? And it bothers me that it's kind of like a double standard, just because I'm thinner doesn't mean that I don't work hard for it. I eat food. Don't judge me about it. So I think that a lot of the time people lose track of that and they kind of, I don't know if it's a jealousy thing or like a whatever it is, but I think that it's so important to like have, again, a sense of self and know what your goals are and know the reason why you're going through a certain thing. And I think that it's such a endorphin
Mhm.
lifting thing. You go to a spin class, you friggin' let everything go. You don't even you just listen to the music and it's such a release. And that's addicting and it's addicting part. And people really need to realize it's such a healthy addiction. Like I rather do this than drink and and smoke weed. Like I rather
Yeah,
do
yeah. And
all
I
of
don't
this.
drink anymore. I have
Yeah,
mocktails. But again, like whatever someone wants to do, if they want to roll up a joint, go for it. Like you
right.
find what makes you happy. But I always say what makes me so happy about exercise is what you've been talking about. It's what you show in on your Instagram. Like what you're posting is there's always a door to enter into. It could be I go for a 40-minute walk in the middle of the
Mm-hmm.
day. I love walking outside.
Right.
I love running outside. I
Mhm.
love swimming in the pool. I love, you know, squatting, as you know. Squats are
Gonna get
that's an
those
easy day for
gains.
me. I like squat day. Spin and squats. I try to like always put the S's like squats and
Yes, the
swim.
same day.
Uh yeah, yeah. When I'm recording with you, today was chest and spinning. But
Yes.
you're right. I give group fitness instructors like everything you've done with your training. My mom actually was in the 80s. Um, did I don't know if she was actually um had the certificate in it, but she would do a stepping
Yes. Well,
or
step was
steps.
so huge.
Yeah,
So
step
huge.
was so huge in the 80s. And then I do think she actually got her certificate in aerobics, like when
Okay,
they would
yeah.
wear their like leopard, unitard
Leotards.
in New
I
Jersey,
kind of
the
want to bring
leotard.
that
Yeah.
back. I think we should bring that back. I think we should just have a class, like an actual
Yeah,
like
the
okay,
80s
80s
leotards, you need them.
class. So
Well, right, and that's when Jane Fonda really
oh, she
Jane
was
Fonda ignited the whole
oh my
video
God.
realm.
She was
Like
the first
where,
one. Yeah, she was
yeah,
the first one. Her and
Suzanne Summers.
Susan Summers.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
were
yeah.
like with the Thigh Master. They were like the ones to beat. They were right there. And then you had what was it, Tabata, the guy with no, the kickboxing guy. He was huge for a long time. But no, those they were like the first influencers, really, like with those videos. It was hilarious. I remember watching them. It was so good. And honestly, I'll go back on YouTube and be like, that's a damn good workout. I'm gonna throw that right into my routine.
Yeah, I used to
So
do those like for everyone out there, even on YouTube during the pandemic, I would do um yoga videos. Like
yeah. Oh,
even
that's a good start to your
it
day. I know a lot of people that do
really
that. Like,
is.
yeah, it's like a 15-minute yoga on YouTube. You just throw it in and you just stretch for in the morning. It's excellent.
Yeah, I
But
now
I've
have
known you
a
for a long time, and
yeah.
your body, I'm so proud of you. Like what you've done in the past year, it's phenomenal. And I can't wait. I keep yelling at you because you need to do another before and after because your freaking shoulder, look at your shoulders in this video.
Yeah.
It's like so awesome. I'm obsessed. I'm like so
Thank you.
excited about the shape you're building and your legs are getting stronger. It's like so apparent. And that's like what makes me excited. Like I love seeing people like listen because it's so hard. Sometimes I'm like, no, do this. And they look at me like I'm absolutely crazy. And I'm like, but it really works. It really works. And
Well,
they
even I
think I'm
bought into
nuts.
TikTok. They had the $4 deal with their shop. Now TikTok is
Mm-hmm.
like right promoting all their products. But I really did enjoy this the just ad board. Like you can target specific
That
sections
was
of your
pretty cool.
body.
I liked that. I think I need to get that too. I was like, thought that was
Well, because
really
I
cool.
just lay it out, and because I work from home mostly, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I'm virtual, I can go around to different places. But I'll just put it out near my desk, and anytime I pass it, I'm like, okay, 10 push-ups. And it's just a
And
good reminder.
so
And
good.
it's
Yes.
just, I feel when you start to add on exercises, I think, right? Yes, when I'm at the gym, it's usually 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Then I go to the sauna. There's a whole ritual, right? And we all have rituals, Ariana, at the gym once you start to
Definitely.
go a lot. But it does not have to be 2 hours, right? It could be it could be that 30-minute,
Yes.
um, doing an ab routine. It could
Mm-hmm.
be I do my walk now. It could
Right.
be I do some abs by my desk. It could be I do the spin class and that's it. Like I always feel some people let's get into New Year's resolutions, even though it's not January yet, but we know what happens in the gym world. Once,
God.
especially when I worked at a gym, anytime it became January, it was just the craze was real and manic. But people set up these expectations that again, I think they really want to impress others instead of really thinking of their mind and body connection, like you
Right.
so wonderfully and aptly said. Why are they building expectations of like, now I'm going to do a 10-mile run every day. And I'm like, well, how many miles have you been running? And they're like, none.
Zero.
Yeah, I'm like, no, no,
Zero
no,
miles.
no, no. I'm like, this is not
I've never
good.
run in my life, and I'm going to do 10 miles every day.
But you
Um,
hear people say these things.
they're setting, it drives me crazy because you're setting yourself up for failure. Because if you have these expectations of yourself to do something, losing weight, building muscle, it takes consistency and time. and dedication. It's there's no quick fix. I know people are using things that are quick fixes, but trust me, you eat normal after the Ozempic and the Optavia and the
Manjaro.
whatever the hell what's the diet that I don't like either, the keto. You
Okay.
start doing these things that are supposed to be quick fixes. You're going to eat literally normal after those 3 months that you maybe lost that weight, as you're going to gain all of that back times 10. And what I tell people, and again, New Year's resolutions drive me nuts, because why are you setting your bar so high when you could just do, like you said, do a 10-minute run, do a 10-minute walk, do 10 push-ups in the morning, and then build up. Be like, okay, well, I did my 10 push-ups. So that was my 15-minute workout today. Maybe tomorrow I'm going to jump rope for 15 minutes. The next day I'm going to do 30 minutes of cardio. The next day I'm going to do weightlifting for 20 minutes. But then, like, maybe after a couple weeks, you boost that time up to 30 minutes. You boost that time up to 20 minutes. And that's also another crazy annoyance when people say to me, well, I don't have time. I don't have time to make a meal prep. I don't have time to work out. I don't have time. Yes, you friggin' do. You're sitting on the phone on Instagram for friggin' 3 hours while your
You're
kids
binge
are
watching
playing.
Netflix.
Yeah, come on now. You have 15 minutes. Like, don't tell me you don't have 15 minutes in your day,
No.
because that's really all it is. And people are shocked. They'll ask me what my gym schedule is. And I say, besides my classes, because I really don't count them, because I do my spin classes to an extent, but I do pull back because of how active I am. Body works, I kind of just like talk
And
through
you
it,
also
unless
have
I'm
to
missing.
pay attention to the class.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
have to watch you guys. I can't be like,
it's not
like
the same practice for
going
you.
cray cray. So when I actually work myself out, it's only an hour and it's 4 days a week. And people are shocked when they hear that. Like, oh, what? Really? Like, only 4 days a week and only an hour each time? And I'm like, yeah, it's not that much of a time. I mean, I could go for 3 hours every day. I could, but I don't have the time. But I make the time. I
Yeah.
make that hour, and you could fit it in, and you could honestly fit it in 15 minutes, morning and night. That's your half hour for the day. That's not hard.
And it's what
And
you
I'm
do
sure you,
after and before
yes,
the workouts, right?
yes,
It's just like I always said to my students in college, Ariana, when we meet in class for an hour, this is our meeting ground. This is
right.
our experimental place. But what you do with your knowledge outside of the classroom is more important to me, because that's when you carry away comprehension and critical thinking skills. It's not
So,
just when you're here
so
on,
huge. Like
call
you're
for me
right,
and
right. Like,
performing. It's a performance in a classroom, just
right.
like
And
in the gym.
exactly. It's the same thing. And I tell that to all my clients, whether they're in my classroom or in front of me as a, personal training. You need to do your own thing when you don't see me. You need to diet. I tell people all the time, and they ask and they laugh. It's 50% diet, 25% genetics, and 25% exercise. And diet is so important. It's so important. What you put in your body needs to be consistent, clean, and a lot of protein, a lot of vegetables, and a little bit of carbs. You don't have to eliminate carbs from your life. You could actually eat carbs. It's not hard. You just got to make sure you're not overdoing anything. But that's with anything. And people have a hard time with that sometimes, that understanding. And I find the biggest problem that I see with people, men and women, they skip food. They don't eat enough during the day, and they
Mhm.
end up starving. And then by the time they go home, they're stuffing their face with munchkins or ice cream or whatever, because they're starving because they didn't eat anything all day.
It's binge eating.
So it's binge eating, and they don't realize it because they're like, oh, well, I ate 3 meals today. Well, what were those meals? Were they significant meals? It's fine to eat 3 meals, but what did you eat in those 3 meals? And what did you eat between? And what did your Starbucks order? Was that full of whipped cream? And, like, people don't understand little things that you could tweak will be a huge difference in the shape of your body
Yeah.
and the way you
Ariana
feel.
is judging my Starbucks order right now.
I
Just kidding.
absolutely am not. I had a
I'm
pumpkin
just joking.
cold brew with what is it, sweet cream, and I'm pretty sure it was like 300 calories today, and it was effing delicious, and I don't care. I love Starbucks.
Yeah, I know. And I have my pumpkin spice latte with light whipped cream. But again, I
No,
know
no
like how many
judgment.
but again, okay, so let's break down all these different fads and your hot takes on them, right? Because
Okay,
you
love
are an
it.
expert, in my opinion, like more than I am on this topic. And I want
Are you
everyone out
testing
there
me on
to,
my expertise?
no, but I think like, so my mom had a lot of success and carried a lot of knowledge after she left Weight Watchers. She still carries the calorie knowledge,
Oh, I
but
love Weight
also
Watchers.
what those calories are, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not just counting calories, it's what's the content
Yeah.
of, how I'm making up my calories for the day, right? Because you could like have 1,000 calories, but it be bad fat or,
Right.
a lot of carbs. And that's not necessarily balanced diet. So yeah, Weight
Right.
Watchers. What do you think?
So Weight Watchers, I've always liked. I've always liked Weight Watchers. I always felt like it was a good program. It was easy to follow. It taught people portion control. That was the biggest thing that I liked about Weight Watchers. The point system, some people, which drives me crazy, they'll be like, oh, well, I'm saving my 20 points for this donut this weekend and this glass of wine. And that kind of is where you should not be using the Weight Watchers points. Like, I get it that you're saving points to be bad on the weekend, but you really should just eat well, use your points, and then yes, you could use your cheat. They have cheat points, right? So you could use those points for towards that. But like again, it's you got to learn how to eat, make those choices because nobody's holding your hand with Weight Watchers. It's really kind of like you weigh in and they don't really give
Mhm.
you that much advice. It's kind of like the app or what have you. And you just got to really kind of gauge yourself. And again, it's all about self control. And that's what they're trying to teach you. And that's why I like Weight Watchers because they do teach you a self control. And some people do it well and some people don't. It really depends on like your personality. I think that that's my favorite out of the, I guess corporate diets, I want to
Mhm.
say, is that because I've always found women and men get more success out of it because they do learn portion control, they learn what to put in their body. And it's not really, it's calorie counting, but not so bad. Like I don't love calorie counting. Same thing with macros. I feel like it's very similar to macros, putting your stuff in MyFitnessPal and counting your macros. That works better to me because you're actually seeing calorie content, like what's in chicken breast. And like I could eat a chicken breast and broccoli and rice, and then I'm at my macros for lunch, or, and then you could go into, different, foods don't have the right amount of nutrients. And that's kind of getting the knowledge of, okay, what can I choose at a restaurant? So I like macro counting a little bit better than a Weight Watchers type of situation. But again, you really have to, in my personal opinion, I think you always should, if you're looking to do a nutrition type of change, is always maybe talk to a nutritionist, someone that actually can go, hey, this is you, because everyone's different too. That's why I don't love any of these things because it's really nothing's cookie cutter, right? So like you kind of have to be like, okay, well, Megan might not be able to eat all this gluten, but Andrew can, like you kind of have to like kind of pick and choose what's right for somebody too. Like maybe making 20 eggs in the morning is not right for this girl. She might need a protein shake and like a banana and like all this stuff. But no, Weight Watchers is cool. I like macro counting due to the fact that they do teach you how to portion control, what foods are good, what food choices are good. Huge on that.
Yeah.
So
So,
that's one
and
of
I
the things.
also, it seems like you're really an advocate for what a friend of the podcast, her name is Sarah Fraser, and she advocates on her show about mindful eating. And she went
Yes.
through this training on mindful eating. And I really listen a lot to her advice on that because I'm now like, even before I joined you and before this Starbucks in the morning after my spin class
Listen,
today.
no judgment on Starbucks. We're
No, I like
eliminating.
the Starbucks. No, no, no. I do. Again, it's about portion control. It's about being aware. Like that's where
Yes.
mindful eating, I
Yes.
knew because, I probably wanted a treat. I like midday deserting. Like I like now trying to
Same.
train my body. Oh, you want to have a cookie, Andrew? Do it in the middle of the day.
Right.
Like try not to, because I have such a pattern of wanting to do it after dinner, and then it
Hmm.
gets so late, and I'm like trying to stop that.
And then you're
Like, oh,
sleeping on that, you know?
yeah,
And then I try to tell clients too, like, you, a lot of your cravings for stuff is because you are, number one, not eating enough in the first place. Usually that's usually the main reason you crave things. I remember when I was craving cheese all the time. I was like, why am I craving cheese? And then I would be like eating all this cheese, and obviously it wasn't great. It's cheese is not really that great for you. And then one of my nutritionist friend was like, oh, it's because you're not eating enough. And I was just like, what? Like, you kind of like, wait a second. And then now that I'm eating consistently and well, I have no craving for cheese. It's bizarre. I mean, I like cheese and I eat cheese, but it's like, I don't need to eat it like by the block at nighttime with crackers, because you're more of like a sweets, I'm like a savory. Like I want that bag of chips or like
oh
popcorn.
no, I'm savory too. I'm
Oh,
like,
you're savory too. I
you
love it.
could give me like a bag of kettle cooked chips with hummus, and I'm a dip person. I will
I
do
love
all
dip.
dips.
I love dip.
I know,
So good.
but again, like
But you
once
don't
you
have to
find,
deprive yourself of those
don't
things.
deprive yourself is your
You
message here.
know, the biggest thing I tell people, I'm like, maybe if you're looking to lose weight, deprive yourself of that for a little bit and then bring it back in. Lose the weight and then learn how to include it in your day to day. And I always tell people, be good. Be good from Monday through Friday. Once you lose the weight, once you lose the weight that you want, you look the way you want to look, get there, and then you could start mixing in things that are kind of like, okay, I could have that cookie in the afternoon. I could have, my Starbucks with the whipped cream. I could have a hummus dip, like, and those are not necessarily bad things to include in your diet. It's just maybe not something you should eat every night. You should
Yeah,
just
well,
pick a night, pick a day,
and I was very mindful when I really love now, and I don't, anyone listening who like works for smoothie companies and businesses, I'm not trying to put you out of business. I will like go to an acai bowl place once in a while, but I buy now like acai bowl mix. I had a kale avocado smoothie today. I like
But you
just
make it
blended it.
yourself.
I made it
Yeah, you make it
myself.
yourself,
And I
and
do
so
feel like
huge.
when I make my own like smoothies, I'm very good at the portion control. And
Mm-hmm.
also, like, I added a scoop of organic peanut butter from Uncle
Yeah,
Giuseppe's into
yeah.
my smoothie. And, like, so I could get my protein since I don't eat
Mm-hmm.
meat. And I'm very aware now because I don't eat meat and I've been doing it since 2020. I had to go through this phase. And I also think this is where I've learned about like what was adding weight for me was I was like always turning to those alternative meats that were full of
Yeah.
soy protein. And I'm like,
Yep.
why do I have a headache? Or, oh, I don't feel good. Like I'm not
So
eating enough
true.
greens. Now
Yep.
I'm eating greens and peppers and I love tomatoes. Like I'm trying
Mm-hmm.
to really kale. Like I'm trying to mix it up,
Yeah,
you know?
especially when you have the altern I don't love, if it's for vegetarians, I'd be like, stay away from all of that, because it's just, or do as little as possible. Go for the beans and those things versus mushrooms, like stuff like that, versus having the alternative meats, because I just don't think they're healthy. I think they're just shit. Like they're just
Yeah,
not
like
good
a
for
good
you.
old
They're not
fashioned
real.
veggie,
Like
a good old
they're made in a
fashioned like
factory.
yeah, like a portobello mushroom
Mm-hmm.
burger. Great, just
It's
portobello mushrooms.
delicious.
Or,
It's
you
delicious.
want to have like an old fashioned veggie burger. Like I like
Yeah.
veggie burgers over like the Impossible brand. Yeah,
No,
I don't
beet
necessarily trust
burger.
what's
Do you
in
ever
it.
like? There's an amazing recipe. I should probably make it for one of
Ooh,
my
bean
stuff.
burgers are so good.
Bean burgers, but with beets. Like you could put beets in
Ooh,
there.
I like that
Delicious, and
idea.
beets are so good for you. There's so many different things you could do, but like again, I just try to tell people to stay away from frozen food. From just
Hmm.
cook your food. Like make your food. Make the time. But again, they fight me. I have no time. I have no time to cook. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You have an
Yeah.
hour. You can do it. You can cook your food, make it easy. And if not, get a meal prep plan. Go somewhere for your food. There's so many. There's like a million meal prep places, and they all cater to every type of diet. Just do it. If you don't
Yeah.
have the time, have somebody else make the food for you. It's not that
So
hard.
I think I know what you're going to say to this fad. Well, I'm calling it a fad, but this diet, people out there might actually do it. So I don't want to say it's a fad, but the Atkins diet.
So so funny. Atkins diet. is like literally the same as what's the other one? I said it before, keto.
Keto.
It's
Yeah.
all the same. It's just a different name, a different brand. It's all money making business. This Optavia, um, Ozempic, which I want to stab someone in the eye for like letting that happen in this universe. I
Yeah.
can't
So what
even deal.
upsets you with Ozempic? Just because everyone who listens here, some are really big into Real Housewives, and that's
Ugh.
been big topics on these shows. And you know, people have very um differing opinions. So like what is it about Ozempic, Ariana, that really is just getting your
You're
goat?
you're if you don't have diabetes, you should not be taking Ozempic. There's absolutely no reason to take that medicine. I understand that it's a quick fix for some people, but you do not know what that thing is going to do to you. I mean, I was reading today that it's causing stomach, um, what is it called?
Ulcers?
No, you know
No.
what? Now I'm like going
But
to
yeah,
Google it because I
there's I
forget.
know that it's
There's
also
things that are
increased
wrong.
strokes. I think
It's
it's
it's really
done
if
with
you
your
it's
heart. It messes with your heart.
people don't understand. It's the same as me going somewhere and taking it's the same as me taking a recreational drug. You're just taking something that you do not need in your body and using it in the wrong way. Like it's like me going to I can't think of a drug that you would use and it's good for some people but not good for another
Well, I was
person,
gonna
like
say there are
for a
some
disease.
recreational drugs that
Oh, like
there are party drugs that
yeah,
make
party
people
drugs
not
that
have
you
an
like.
appetite. Like heroin makes people
Yeah,
skinny, but that's not what fitness
no, but
experts are recommending. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ozempic is medicine for diabetic. It is
Hmm.
not medicine to lose weight. It's medicine for diabetic. It's not something that these people are using it and abusing it in the wrong fashion. And when you do something like that, your body is going to break down it in a bad way. Something's going to go wrong. And it's way too soon right now, but I put money on it. Mark my words on this podcast. There's going to be 3 or 4 months down the road that they're going to be like, it's banned. I'm telling you right now.
Hmm.
And the also there's like the alternative ones that are kind of Ozempic that these aesthetic places are selling too. That again, you don't know what's in it. You know, you don't know what's in this drug, and you don't know what you're putting in your body and how it's going to react to you.
And it makes
And I
people very nauseous. Like just to
it
let
makes
everyone
people
know, because I know people on it and I'm not judging them, but they'll be very open and they say, Andrew, I
they
am
can't eat.
sick. Like I
Yes.
can't even
How
eat
is that
a little
healthy?
like silver dollar of something because I feel I want to throw up. And
That's
that's
so
what's helping them lose weight. And I'm like, wait,
not to
but
be a
this
jerk,
is
but
yeah.
it's medical anorexia is and bulimia is and not bulimia because you throw up, but like it's medical anorexia. That's what it is. You're not eating food. You're literally you don't have an appetite. When you take this medicine, you don't have an appetite. You're
Well,
getting
it's
nauseous.
supposed
You
to
don't want
help
to
you
eat.
break down glucose, which
Yes.
is for diabetics. But if you're trying to have me break down my glucose, my body's fine.
Right.
My you're it's again, it's this isn't the appropriate medical explanation, but like it's basically fighting within the body,
Yeah,
like
you're
against the natural system.
you're breaking
But
down things that
yeah,
don't need to be broken down.
but
It's
I
really
will
what
say there are a lot of women, and I will even say I've thought about this myself, which is getting your hormones checked. How do you feel about people who
oh,
want their hormone levels checked?
yes, 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 yes. Go, go, go. Do not stop. You know, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go get your friggin' hormones checked, especially in your 40s. What? Because you are changing. Your body's changing. Your metabolism slows down. You need to know what the hell is going on. I had 2 women tell me they got their hormones checked, and this is again coinciding with the best thing you should do is talk to medical professionals,
Mhm.
medical nutritionists. If you're going to do a diet, and have them discuss with you what you should be doing for you. Because again, these commercial diets are not for everybody and they don't care. They want your fucking money. So this you need to go to a nutritionist. And yes, 1000% go to a hormone therapist because they will test everything and they'll be like, you know what? You're not breaking down proteins correctly. You're not breaking down this correctly. Your gut health is not good. You have for your premenopausal, you need to be putting this in your diet. And I know 3 women that have done this and their weight is peeling off. Their weight is peeling off because they're eating things that maybe that they needed in their body to be more healthy, and then they are eliminating things. Like for me, you just told me about your kale shake. I cannot eat kale. I can't. I did not know this. I was eating kale shakes every day. I was like, oh, I'm healthy. Da, da, da. My body decided, oh, you're going to get kidney stones from that, because kale, for me, turns into kidney stones. For you, probably won't. But like, it literally does not work with my body. And if I went to a hormone therapist or nutritionist, they would have been like, you know what, you're prone to kidney stones, or you're prone to this, and you will, your thyroid or whatever it is, you can't break down those enzymes. You need to, not eat that. And I didn't know that. I learned the hard way. But if I were to do those things, those measures, and actually learn about my own body, I wouldn't have done those things. So I
Yeah.
really do think that it's so important. Like 1000%, absolutely do
Wait,
that.
so if the people out there want their hormone levels checked, who should they see, Ariana?
There's hormone therapists. There's people
Okay.
that's actually a profession. Like you go to a hormone therapist, you look it up,
Yeah.
and
So like ask
it's
your
actually
primary
medically.
doctor for
Ask your primary
recommendations.
care doctor, or even your nutritionist is probably the better person to ask. Like and
Okay.
just be like, who do you know on Long Island? I know a couple names that I can't remember who they are, but like there's definitely like a bunch on Long Island for
Good,
sure.
good. Well, because again, this is where the housewives and those conversations that they have openly, a lot have talked about getting their hormone levels checked.
Mm-hmm.
I will say though, what do you feel about the scrutiny of this brings us back to the bodybuilding gym space, the scrutiny that people have of trying to investigate whether a person has done something with an enhancing drug. Like even the people who say, "Oh, they did Ozempic," and then
Mm-hmm.
they start to become the Salem witch trial Puritans. Like they're on Ozempic, they're on steroids, they're doing this, they've had a butt lift, they've had
Yep.
Botox. Like it becomes,
So
what's the
listen,
line for you?
I'm not a judgmental person. So
Mhm.
like again, I've had plastic surgery on my stomach. I had a diastasis recti split after my kids. I had extra skin. There was nothing I could do. I was 100 pounds soaking wet, and I still had a belly. One of these days I'll post my before and after with before my surgery and after, because, and I tell people that sometimes you really got to get something medically fixed. I do think that sometimes your boobs are just not the way they are, and you need a boob job. Like, I don't have one, but I know many women that do, because they breastfed and their boobs look like crap after. They want to look better and they want to feel good about themselves. I know women that do Botox. I don't. I know women that do filler. I do not. I do not have any issue with any of these things, but I do think because of social media, because of housewives, the people again abuse it. They do too much of it. They get their butts too big. They do too much lip filler. They do too much everything. There's a line where I think that people need to go, okay, I'm looking crazy, and I need to look, there's a lot, and then there's like that body dysmorphia that kind of comes into it, and that's again in the bodybuilding world too. You have these people that are like, I want to look the strongest and most fit, and they do end up doing steroids, and they want to win shows, and like there's a whole stigma again to that. But again, if that's your decision, that's your fucking decision. Nobody can tell you differently. But do realize that in my opinion, I think steroids is cheating. I think that Ozempic is cheating in the fitness world. I think all of that is cheating.
And steroids have very negative effects,
And
right?
steroids have just as negative effects as Ozempic does. Like, again, you're putting something in your body that you don't need. I have some people that they're getting, because of menopause, some nutritionists that are suggesting, or not even nutritionists, just like people that say they're nutritionists but they're not, suggesting what's it called, testosterone for people, and I just don't think necessarily that's good for you. Like, I just think that again, if you eat healthy and you stay on track, and you do your thing, you will be fine. Like, you don't need any of these extra things. But I do think that people tend to like get in their own head and like want an image that I don't know who is telling them that they want this image, but I know most men really don't want lip filler in a girl. Like, I've never spoken to a guy and said, oh, I love really giant lips. I've never heard that in my life. Like, I don't get it, like, it doesn't, I think it's really just like a weird imaginary stigma. The filters on Instagram just F people up too. Like,
Oh yeah.
like they
That's why
just
I
get a
don't use
bad,
filters on my body
no, they
because
get
it's
bad
going to mess with
body
my
image.
head.
Yeah, you get a bad body image and bad confidence. It's a whole body dysmorphia thing. And this is, again, it's such a fine line because you could be healthy and great, and then you could be like really sickly looking if you really are not careful. And again, this all comes back to like mental health too. It's such a
Yep.
huge mind body connection is so huge. People don't realize it. And it's sad to me when I see people keep abusing stuff that really, you go, you looked beautiful before. Like you don't need all this stuff, But again, like do what you need to do to make yourself feel better, but just don't go overboard. You don't need a huge ginormous Kim Kardashian butt. You just don't.
Yeah.
You can build a nice butt in the gym. Like you don't need the ginormous, BBL that that is laughable, in my opinion. So,
Well, I think sometimes they maybe think that by entering into the celebrity image, which
mm-hmm.
we know, Ariana, I mean, you have amazing professional like photo shoots done. I know
Thank you.
photographers, but we know what goes into that. Like
Yeah,
Kim Kardashian, when she's photographed for covers, there's a whole team. Like this is not just
you
her,
froze.
it's not just her walking on the street when Kim Kardashian is getting
Right,
a whole model um
right.
spread done. And I think that the issue, someone's body image issue, that, I'm glad that we got to that in the conversation because I'm so open now about having an eating disorder when I was in high school. And
Yeah.
I've worked through it in therapy, and
Mm-hmm.
like therapy is so helpful. But now I have like my boundaries. Like I know, okay, I'm able to now go tanning, but I'm not going tanning every day. Like there is
Right,
always in my mind, I have a line because
right.
it can become addictive. Like any behavior about my body,
Mm-hmm.
not with exercise, like even that, it can become a compulsion, right?
Of
But
course. That's what I'm saying. Like
yeah,
you could spend your whole day at the gym if you really wanted to, but is it really necessary? No. Like you don't want to like again, don't overdo everything. Like, your body needs to rest. You need, I really just feel like I don't know what it is. I definitely think social media plays a huge part in it where everyone wants to be this image that's just not something anybody really needs to look like. I think
and
it's
yeah,
ruining the individuality of people. Like that's
and it's
my
not
opinion.
authentic. Like I
No,
think that's why what I so love is when you share, you're sharing your everyday advice from the fitness world and experience you have. Like you're not doing a cultivated image
right,
of some fantasy world of
right.
fitness, which um, you know,
Which is
to
why
and
some of my
yeah,
workouts are boring because I feel like a lot of the times I'm like, oh, I'm posting the same squat, But it's really that's what I do. I'm not pretending I'm doing this crazy ass workout that no one could do. I want you to be able to, Andrew, and even a girl in my class that's maybe in her 70s to go to the gym, be able to do the same thing. Because we're all at different fitness levels and everyone could do it. You just might need a modification or whatever. But I do think that all of these, all the things that I tout are attainable and they are sustainable. The things that these other influencers are doing or whatever, it's not a sustainable. These diets are not sustainable
it leads
and
to
they're going to be
burnout.
disappointed.
Like it leads to a burnout. I mean,
It
that's
does.
why I always have in my mind, okay, here's my break day. And then
Mm-hmm.
if I need like 2 days and maybe I do a walk one of those break days, that's great. But even I used to like think I had to do 65 laps in the pool and then
Right.
like an intensive other exercise. And then I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, well, if I do 30 laps in the pool and I've done a spin class, like that's a lot of exercise. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're good. And
Right.
I feel like if I kept right, if you keep intensifying it, no wonder that next day I'm passed out.
Right. Right.
It catches up with you. And like you said, sustainability is more the focus here. So
Mm-hmm.
I love what you said, Ariana, about like people, if someone wants, plastic surgery and right, it boosts your confidence, your image. That is all true. I mean, I don't make it um I don't hide the fact that I get facials every month
Mm-hmm.
and I love, you know, how it makes me feel, but also like having that maintenance done on my face. I have skincare regimen that I
Yeah,
follow.
exactly.
I even get like butt cupping treatment, but right. I know people who've gotten liposuction,
Hmm.
but there's always, and with anything you've said, there's always to the extreme, like where you
Right.
could go overboard. And
Also, like, you really shouldn't be doing any of those liposuction, tummy tucks, any of that stuff until you lose weight. Like, you know how many women I know got, or even men, like they'll get a tummy tuck and not lose the weight, and then they end up gaining weight back, and then they have a tire. They have a fat above the tummy tuck line and under the tummy tuck line. And I just go, what are you doing? Like, what? Why would you get a tummy tuck and see how far you could get that belly flat before get a tummy tuck or get liposuction? Like, again, this is all shortcuts. I don't love shortcuts, and Ozempic is a shortcut. These other diets are shortcuts because they are, again, not sustainable. They are a quick fix, and then you're going to end up sick because, again, mark my words, 6 months down the line, we're going to have a fucking problem with Ozempic. Um, you are literally just hurting yourself more because once you get to a goal and then 3 months later you start eating normal again, all that weight's going to come back. Or if you get a tummy tuck before you lose all the weight, you're going to have a weird spare tire. You're going to have your fat's going to go somewhere else. You're going to have a weird. I've seen girls that have like weird ass fat like places. BBLs are the most dangerous plastic surgery in the world. In the world,
mm,
people die just
mm,
from it. It's like literally the most dangerous because your body's like, oh, I'm going to stick fat in this and then whatever. I actually have had girls have issues with breast implants too. Like there's dangerous to everything, dangerous to all these plastic surgeries. But I do think that, again, in moderation with everything, just do it to a minimum level until you feel better about yourself. And please stay off the fillers because I think it makes women look exactly the same and scary. That's my opinion, but more, go for it if you really want to, but I just don't really understand it.
yeah. And let's just say again, I believe like you, Ariana, whatever anyone wants to do with their body is up to them. It's their individuality and freedom of choice.
Yeah.
But, there are some reality shows where I can't distinguish some women.
They
And
look, they look the
that's,
same.
that's
It's
because of a
crazy.
certain, doctor they go to. But,
Yeah. I
as
just
we end,
can't.
I want to like just one more question I have because I feel like it brings us back to the beginning, which
Yeah.
is we've talked now so much. Like, thank you for like addressing, um, like weight loss and health, like healthy eating, and so much advice about moving and getting active for those who feel they don't know where to begin. You've given them so many options of where to start, and I am curious for those who are the fitness enthusiast or those who, you know, like myself or you, are in a pattern and they've been doing this a while. There is a lot of, the
Lack of
community.
motivation.
Well, no, no. I mean, I think we have to always find that motivation, right? For me,
Yeah.
it's certain music choices that I
Hell yeah.
bring into my workouts. But when you are at the gym or you are wherever, it could be even like your cycle friends,
Mm-hmm.
like outdoor cycling, whatever your community, your yoga community. There is such an excitement though of the community you build. And like I even know the LA fitness community that I have, and like we'll fist bump or like
Yeah.
I'll like hug some of the members that I've known a while. We become friends, we hang out. There is though also something we talk about, and I want to, bring up the steamy part, which is,
Love it.
you know, my expertise as a gay scholar. Like, there's so much that happens in the fitness industry that I think would actually surprise the public. I think the public, for some reason, they think that bodybuilders, especially male bodybuilders, are homophobic, which is completely untrue to everything that I've seen.
Yeah.
Like a lot of men who are really deep in fitness are some of the most
Erotic
open-minded
men.
and non-judgmental people. They're very like erotic even about their own body and being open about their journey because they're always,
They have that
wanting
mind
others.
body connection already. So like I feel like
Yes.
I think honestly, and this is from I'm married, so like this is from other women that tell me that Yeah, they're very they're very adventurous apparently because they just are like really in tune with themselves and they like kind of like venture off and again I feel like they're manly, you know, like that's stereotypical manly, but I think that there's some rumors that they like don't like to be so manly in the bedroom. Like that's the rumor, you know, that they like to like kind of be dominated or being, you know, different and different things. That's the
There's
rumor that I
kinks.
hear.
Yeah, they're
That's the
kinky.
rumor that I hear.
Yeah, but I also think that there's so much um like even I'll like show everyone. This is why my favorite listeners, not like I'm judging all the listeners, Ariana, but my favorite are the ones who
That
are
appreciate your short shorts.
well, that and who watch the video and pay to see our videos on Patreon. That's just a plug. But no, so I have my short shorts and
Love those
I,
shorts.
thank you. And
Oh,
I
we
always
talked about this with the that you get confused and you're like, why are these straight men wearing
well,
the
that's what I
short
was going to
shorts?
bring up is I feel that what's wonderful to see is the young generation, like the Gen Zers, or even
Mm-hmm.
maybe like your son's age. I don't know if he's a Gen. I think he's younger than the
Oh,
Gen Zer.
he's 13. So like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I don't know what shorts he's gonna be wearing yet.
I don't know. By the time that he becomes an adult, everyone might just be nudists. But
it's you laugh, but I cannot believe what they talk about. They don't even like you and I. We're like 10 years apart, I think, or so. The gay, they don't give a shit. Like they just
Mhm.
embrace it. It's amazing. It's
It's
beautiful. Like I
beautiful.
love it.
Yeah,
It's so heartwarming. They could give a flying f who's gay, who's straight, who's into who. It's so like fluid, and it's
yeah.
awesome, and I love it. I love that nobody gives a shit, and that's why you know we could have a whole nother podcast about this shit. But it's so great to me to see that everyone, and again, Gen Z, like younger, they are so much more open sexually that I've ever seen in my entire life. And I absolutely love it. And I think that's what you see at the gym too. Like, and you get a little confused. Like, is this guy
Yeah.
into
But what's
me or
wonderful is
just
there's so
complimentary?
but what's wonderful is to see the support, but also I always say like what the gym has taught me and what you've taught me, Ariana, continue to teach me and all those who are like fitness motivators in my
Mm-hmm.
life, instructors, or just people that I follow. They are so all about authenticity and just being proud of your body and the skin that you're in. And I think that the majority in the gym, they are, they're not trying to burn out. They're not trying to do the New Year's resolutions. Like
Yes.
for
And they
those who,
want you
yeah,
to join them. It's and that's
yes.
and I try to tell this to everybody. They're like, I'm so intimidated to go to the gym, or I'm so intimidated to go into the weight room and lift weights. And I'm like, why? They want you to be there. And they were excited. Just because they're fit doesn't mean they don't think you could belong. They started there too. You
Yep.
know, and I tell people that all the time, like, you need to understand we all had a beginning, we all had a start, and we remember that start and we remember our own struggles and we appreciate seeing it. And that's why we get, honestly, I think I did a rant about it. I get pissed off about New Year's resolutions because I know they're going to be gone. And I don't want them to be gone. I
I
want them to
know. I
join
know.
us. I want them to like embrace this lifestyle because honestly, it's so empowering for your own self, like to look at yourself in the mirror and be proud of your shoulders or proud of like your abs or proud of your leg growth or you know even just like fitting different pants and wearing short shorts. Like
Yeah.
you get excited about seeing other people wanting to do it. So that's, to be honest with you, that's why I kind of hate New Year's resolutions, because they just, I want them to join us. I want it to be like, I love my little family, my fit fam, and I want everyone to kind of join this culture because I do think it's so, and everyone's so nice and so um complimentary and into it, and like, and they're
And this
such
is what
nice people.
you're
There's
teaching
good
us.
people. Yeah, they're
I
good
mean,
people.
but this is
So
why my hope is, right? Like we'll have to definitely do a part two. And you know what, Ariana?
I know we're literally, you said
I think
50
you
minutes and I'm
prepared the
pretty sure we're
way.
like,
But we prepared the way because I think I'm going to have you back on in January,
oh, I
like
love it
deep in the New Year's
after the New Year's
resolution
resolution.
phase. And I do think that a lot who listen to our conversation, if they're in the gym fitness industry, my hope is that like the work you're doing, there's so many who are helping to empower those out there on their journey, is that more gyms eventually have a plan ready for people
Right.
when it comes to January. Like they
Mm-hmm.
don't allow that burnout to happen.
Right. I
Like
agree.
they don't allow people to set up expectations that are
Right.
going to come crashing down. Like that's why I love that so many gyms LA Fitness does. Like they have that trial assessment. Like everyone should
Right.
do it just because
Right. They really
my
should.
mom's going to do it. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that's great, mom. Like just to start to learn, you know, what your routine can be and something
Right.
manageable. It's about,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, making it manageable.
Making it a
Uh,
plan, making it fit into your day. And then that you won't fail. Then you won't give up on it. And that's really the most important thing. You want to make sure you don't set yourself up for failure, because that's what happens to a lot of these people. They'll be like, again, like you said, like, I'm going to run 10 miles every day. That's not real. Make it, I'm going to run an hour every day. Doesn't matter if you run a mile. Maybe you're going to jog half of it. Maybe you're going to walk it. It
exactly.
doesn't matter. Just make sure you actually physically do it and don't like be over the top. Again, moderation. Do everything
Yeah.
slowly
My
and be
favorite
patient.
thing is mixing your exercise for those out there who want to start moving more, even
Mm-hmm.
mixing up your errands with walking. Like if you have a
Oh,
downtown near you and you can like
yeah.
walk to your shops, do it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'll even love walking
Stairs.
in Port Jeff and be like, oh, I have to get a library book.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Walk
it helps
stairs.
you. Yep.
Yeah, like don't take the elevator, walk stairs, bring a jump rope to the bus stop while you're standing with your kids. Like there's so many little things that you could do that can help you just move around, get a standing desk. There's so many different little tiny tweaks. Have the push-up thing right next to
Yeah.
next to your desk.
And
Like
bring
do
the
10
push-up thing
push-ups.
with you on vacation, you know?
Yes, bring
So
bands on
we have so
vacation.
much we have so much more to talk about, Ariana. Okay. Well, I'm going to check back in with you and you're now like our fitness expert on the show. And
Yay! Love
so
it.
Ariana, the fitness expert here in the Ivory Tower Boiler Room, we'll check back in with the New Year's resolution, see how your advice for everyone to manage it and, make sure that people are not going to set themselves up for failure. We'll make sure that doesn't happen out there.
Yes, we'll have some
Ariana, again,
tips.
yes, I know you will. So everyone, make sure you follow Ariana for her amazing recipes. Maybe she'll have a black bean one soon. Um,
Oh, I'm
or the
doing it. I'm
burger.
doing
You'll have
it.
to do it. Um, so everyone can follow you where again, Ariana?
At AP Fitness Works and
Okay. Yeah.
follow Boiler Room.
Oh, thank you, Ariana. Um, so can't wait to have you back. I just love knowing you. It's been such a journey
I love
and
you too. You're the best. And please,
love
before and
you.
after picture, I'll kick your ass because you've
Okay.
been doing
When this
so
comes out,
good.
I'll do the before and after. That's the publicity motivation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
I
when
love
this
it.
is out in November, you'll see a before and after before Thanksgiving. There you go.
Yes, yes, please.
Again, holidays, we'll talk about that in part two. I think right after the holiday season,
Yes,
talking about managing food, it'll be on everyone's mind again. And you can enjoy Thanksgiving dinner portions. It's
there's
all
absolutely
about
nothing wrong with
portions.
Thanksgiving dinner. Everything that you eat is fine. Just do not overdo it. Handfuls of things. Use your hand. You don't have a measuring, just take your hand, put it in front of something, throw it on your plate. That's what you should be eating. Keep it green mostly.
Yeah.
Put potatoes in your hand, a lot of protein, you'll be fine. Thanksgiving is no issue. Halloween, I love me some Reese's peanut butter cups, as everyone knows that follows me. Um, just keep it in moderation, just mini Reese's peanut butter cups, make it one a day, while the Halloween season is happening. Don't be eating 17 Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So everyone now, whenever this comes out, whether it's Halloween or Thanksgiving, you have a plan.
We have a
Okay.
plan.
Thank you. Thank you, Ariana, and bye to the listeners.
Bye, guys. Thanks so much.